So people often forget to think as God is our Father. Like especially like when you start out in building your relationship with Christ, right? So God won't tell us to do something for to protect us, and we don't even know it, or God will have us go do something we don't understand the reasoning behind it, but we still got it. We got to do it because, well, again, because like your parent, when if you don't do what your parent tells you to do, even if you don't understand it or you think it's stupid, oftentimes you get in trouble because why? You didn't listen, or sometimes it's like, okay, well, you can go do this thing or like hang out with your friends or go do something fun after you do these things, right? Because and there's like a reasoning behind that, whatever reasoning it may be. And oftentimes what ends up happening is people like, yeah, they don't want to do it, because they don't want to do it when it comes together, they're just not going to do it. At a job, if you don't do what your boss is going to tell you and you do it too many times, they fire you. And now you don't have. So people sit there and they're more willing to go do things for their job than they are for God. When in reality, God has His own blessings, and I'm not saying only stay in the will of God for His blessings, but what I am saying is that His word says, "Do not grow weary in well doing, for you will reap in due season." I don't think I'm quoting it completely right, but that's what He says. And oftentimes He will tell us to go do something and we don't understand the reasoning behind it. And at some point we might, but His thoughts are higher than our thoughts, His ways are higher than our ways. So when are you gonna go get up and go do the thing that God has told you to do? I'm not I'm not super great at it myself sometimes. I will say that. You're not alone in it. Okay? But sometimes people wonder why everything is going so hectic and so crazy in their life. And oftentimes it can literally just be the fact that you are operating outside of the will of God. It's different if it's a refining season. If you're operating outside of the will of God, if you're choosing to be in disobedience, you're there's gonna be a consequence to that. There's a consequence for everything, whether it be good or bad. People don't understand that. The consequences of staying in the will of God and finding the daily fight, because there's work that goes into staying in the will of God. Because there's a reason why it's called a daily fight. So, not only do you have a good relationship with your Father, like a flourishing relationship in your life is fruitful. Well, actually, the second thing is your life is fruitful. You're in the will of God. You have a really great relationship with God. Everything, and then your life is fruitful. Because God takes care of His children. And yeah, you know what? We may not always understand why God has us do certain things, but it's better to go do what He tells you than sacrifice later, because His word says that obedience is better than sacrifice, and oftentimes your obedience can be tied to somebody else. So go get up, go do what you're supposed to do, and let's get this show on the road. Because some of y'all are delaying your blessings because you're not doing what God has told you to do.